It's fine. You don't have to worry. This is not the nightly news.
Look, we had a great episode last week. Pressure's off this week.
Version of it. Hey, welcome back to another episode of 1980s Now, a weekly examination of the importance of 1980s pop culture and its influence today. Hey, my name's Will, and joining me, as always, are my friends and co-hosts, Kat and John. Hello.
Hello.
Hello again.
Hey, don't forget to catch John on his other podcast, because he's busy. He's a busy dude.
Yeah. That's true.
He's doing it. Did we say this already? He's doing it simultaneously with this show right now. So some of his responses may not seem to make sense to us.
Oh, yeah.
But George and Mo get it.
Right. Well, I have two earbuds, one microphone, talking to two groups of people.
Right.
So if in doubt, I just go,
Yeah.
Just repeatedly. It works most of the time.
I'm going to message Mo, find out what you guys are talking about right now.
And every now and then he's like,
Speaking of racism in the 80s.
Oh,
what? Is that some slang from the South?
It doesn't fit.
Oh, I see.
Exactly.
There you go. Yeah. Was that for us or was that for us or George and Mo?
what?
You may never know.
Yeah. Now you got to listen to Gen X Grown Up to find out.
That must be a nostalgia episode.
Hey, on today's show, we're going to be talking about 1980s news. I'm going to tease those stories in just a moment. But this is one of those episodes that we're going to continue to talk about in the 1980s from the lens of my novel, which is set in the 1980s, which I am anxiously, eagerly tearing through. John's got a lens right up to his eye right now.
Oh, yes.
And I'll just be direct with the audience. I had planned on speaking with someone who about this topic this week, or maybe a bonus episode with regard to this. And that didn't pan out, we'll say. I don't out people that, ghost us until some later time. Usually takes a year, and then I'll tell you everything.
Right. The statute of limitations on calling shenanigans.
Although the Patreon supporters, I usually tell them right away, you this son of a bitch had me sitting at the computer waiting.
I really need to become a patron so I can hear all this.
But anyway, so this week, and then when he didn't show up, I was going through the list of things like, hey, what can we talk about? And a lot of them seemed like a bummer to talk about right away. So instead, I'm going to share with you some stories that I recall from the 1980s. My earliest experiences with, I'm just going to say breakdancing, even though I know B-boys and B-girls don't say breakdancing, they say breaking.
Right.
But in the mainstream, once the mainstream started talking about this dance craze, it became breakdancing, and that's how a lot of folks know it. So I'll say it's quite easy to say that.
Yeah.
Breakdancing, my earliest recollections, and some of them, maybe the couple of stories I'll share, I think they directly influenced some of the stories in my novel, which is a work of fiction.
Yeah.
I think so. Anyway, there you go. Okay, but hey, before that, we're going to review current news stories related to 1980s media, including, hey, you can trap your popcorn. There you go. You may be able to trap your popcorn at the premiere of Ghostbusters Afterlife. Stallone is, Rambo is over, Johnny. Over. How about that? There you go. The Labyrinth sequel may have only been a dream.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. I ran out now. Jennifer Beals reveals her iconic, the source of her iconic.
Something about Jennifer Beals.
Look from Flashdance. All right, whatever. We'll get to it. And there's time codes down in the notes if you'd like to skip straight to the news or to the end of the show. There's one for that too. It's how long the show is. You just.
The eject button also works.
Yeah. Now let's check in on Gen X Grown Up.
Can you
Silence.
hold your
It's crickets.
hold your earbud up to the mic, will you?
Hey, a quick announcement before we move on to the news. I wanted to share with everybody that on October 10th, so this week, depending on when you're listening to the show, author and prior guest Sky McDonald will publish her fourth book in her Anti-Bell series, Just Your Type. I gotta say Anti-Bell. I always have to remember Anti-Bell, as in antebellum.
Right.
Because
yes.
I want to say
Antebellum.
like anti-bell or say it in a way that's not consistent with the, turn of phrase or the clever sort of pun it is, I guess.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. And her
You succeeded.
book title, like so many of them, Just Your Type, is also a play on, so it's a wonderful play on what the story is about in that phrase. Because in this book, and I just got a little summary here, on paper, easygoing Megan with a secret and straight-laced Luke don't match. Online, however, inhibitions vanish and types You like types and types
Typing.
get redefined. The connection is real and real hot.
Oh boy.
Now this reminds me
Wow.
that of her other book that we read, which is set in the 1980s, The Not So Nice Girl, which is the first time he spoke to Sky.
Yes.
That was my entree into romance, and holy cow, that book is just full of lots of different type of, I mean, it's all over the place. The record store.
I'm really saddened. Based on the title, I was hoping it was going to be like making out in the Bloodmobile or something.
Yes, just in time for Halloween. Yeah, something like that.
It's like, are you typo?
Yes.
Me too. Let's make out.
Wow.
Because if I bite your lip, I can, donate blood. That's why.
I always wanted to do an episode about, and I had some folks lined up for this that didn't work out a year or more ago, to talk about that nexus of horror and sex that was,
we were
really
going to do that.
Yeah, I had a couple of folks lined up. Scheduling didn't work out, and honestly, I think we just stopped following up with one another. It's just odd to me. And in the 1980s, that was huge. Speaking of Halloween, which is coming up soon. But
hoes everywhere.
I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. So I wouldn't be able to get turned on in a Bloodmobile.
It's a haunted Bloodmobile, it turns out. Oh,
in the very least, because of the blood pressure change,
They were no wonder.
All right.
I actually made notes when you first suggested we were going to talk about that.
Oh, you did?
I have,
all right. I'm going to look up
Mm.
and see I think I know who we were going to talk to, and see if we can't work that out. That would be
all
cool.
right.
Sometime early.
Yeah, you should see her notes. 7 pages in that little book.
For the end of the show. All right. And hey, that's our show.
There it goes.
Hang on. Hey, all right. So there you go. Oh, there's more I want to tell you. So can their steamy romance thrive in real life? Will dynamite digital chemistry survive its collision course with reality, or will everything blow up in their faces? I actually met my wife online.
Yeah. Did you have dynamite digital chemistry?
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy because, I use one of these things. It was prior to all these apps. Now it's like crazy. Now it's, I don't know. It's so weird. It's like, I guess just because I grew up at a different time, I don't know that I could use an app where seems so cavalier about connecting with someone. It seems efficient.
Right. Like an app, the specific purpose is to hook up, you mean? As opposed to, it's like going to a bar to meet someone versus we met at the library. it's like, well, we know why you're at the bar. Yeah. You've got that shiny shirt that's slid all the way down to the front. Yeah. We know why you're at the bar. But the library, just the glasses do it for me, I guess. So whatever other reason.
Absolutely. Thanks, John. Appreciate that for noticing.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Is that really a thing?
What?
Oh yeah.
Glasses?
Is glasses a real sexy thing?
I thought it was just Scott.
Can be.
I thought it was just your husband. Oh my God, Kat's covering her eyes like you're undressing her eyeballs. You're undressing her face. Wow.
I'm secretly imagining you with no lenses in those.
Imagine you taking your glasses.
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
Oh my
God. Are those transitions? Look how they're slowly changing color. Yes. Really hot.
Ooh, read the menu again. Put them down on your nose.
What else?
Look over the top of them. Well, that's our show.
Yeah, we can't. Kat's not even going on the camera now. Oh.
She's broken again.
She's ducking out of the way.
Oh, she's back without glasses. Okay.
Somehow her hair is different too. What's happening? Yeah, that is a thing, Kat. Absolutely, 100%.
Wow.
Which, shows me a lot of things. One, I guess, you don't have that particular, turn on. Although your husband does wear glasses too, right? Doesn't he?
Yes.
Or,
he does wear glasses. I personally never thought of them as one way or the other, but one time he wanted to come along with me to an eye doctor appointment to help choose.
Ooh.
Oh my God. Wait. Your optometrist is like Victoria's Secret for your husband?
He's like, Kat, it's got to be these. It's got to be these.
Yeah. What is
He's not just an Aldi fan. He's
John,
a
please,
fan.
oh, please buy these. Oh, God.
John, what is the equivalent of a thong in eyewear? Is that a monocle?
Oh my God.
Bifocals? Probably not.
Those little tiny readers from CVS, you know?
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, the half ones. Yeah, I think that's, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. They leave nothing to the imagination. I can see your eyeball right over top of them.
I can
really,
see
really good.
Kat's husband now walking into an eye doctor like,
No, we told you. No, get out. No more.
Banned for
I do
life.
want to take my glasses off now, but I won't be able to see you.
John's looking at me anyway. It's fine. We know what he meant.
They wanna wonder.
Oh, is this the news? What are we doing? Oh, anyway, so yeah. I met my wife
what
online.
were we
I met my
talking
wife
about?
online. So that was, and it was different because you had to, you had a bio. You had lots of photos. You had interests. You had,
There was no swiping, right?
No.
No swiping. Okay.
I mean, you could like thumbs up or thumbs down, but the person never knew it. I think now even on the app, it's like, 60% of people that look at me don't like me. I think you know these things. I mean,
No. They give stats like
I think so. I don't know.
Oh, that's horrible.
Right. Anonymous stats. So you don't know who the thumbs ups were, right?
Wow.
It worked out for me. Anyway, so check out Sky's new book. It's available this week. Hey, let's get caught up on 1980s news. All right, hey, this week in 1980s news, and as reported by Ghostbusters News, the upcoming Ghostbusters sequel is reportedly getting a ghost trap popcorn bucket.
Sold.
John's already there in line waiting for it.
Yep.
John, what other? So, John, I mean, you brought this story to our attention, and I knew immediately it's because, in particular, you tend to buy these collectible popcorn items when you can. Right?
Sometimes, I don't think you can lose with them. They always appreciate in value because, look, if you're speculating, it's $30-$40 maybe, but they're gone right away, and you could flip them if you decide it was a foolish purchase. But more often than not, they're just cool to have.
Okay.
What was the?
Yeah, you got one.
They've had them for so many things. I got the one for the Dungeons and Dragons movie. It's like a giant 20-sided die. Yeah.
It's a dice.
Yeah.
That's right. Or
And plus, it looks like an awesome prop. If there's no popcorn in it, it's a ghost trap. What's wrong with that? That's awesome.
Yeah, I think my challenge is always, I've never been to as of recent, been there early enough to get them. Usually I go and stare and like, can I have one of the, it's sold out already? Oh, for something,
Yeah.
There's a limited supply, it seems.
Yeah. You kind of have to plan on getting one. Like, I'll swing by the theater on opening day and when it's matinee time and go in and get a popcorn bucket.
Right. That's your goal is just.
Well, that's the purpose for the trip.
Here for the popcorn? Yes. Yep. And what movie you're seeing? Oh, I'm not seeing any movie. I just want the popcorn.
No.
Would you like it buttered or not? No, I don't want the popcorn. I just want the popcorn holder.
Well, oddly enough, when I got the 20-sided die, there was no popcorn in it. Oh. It was wrapped in a plastic bag, and then they gave you a box of popcorn.
Oh.
So they knew that people don't want it muddied up with butter and crap. So they give you, here's your toy that's designed to hold popcorn, air quotes, and here's your actual popcorn. Separately.
So do you go in the theater, unwrap it, and then fill it with popcorn, or you just you take it home all pristine in the wrapping?
I just leave it as it is. Take it home.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can take it home and clean it. So
Well, yeah.
The fewer dishes I can do, the better.
I think I'd want to use it.
You want to use it at the theater?
I wonder. I probably would. I think I would want to use it. Actually, here's what I would do. Because we go and we get a big bucket and we try to eat as much of it as possible before the movie starts so we can go get our cheap refill. And if there's more than like 2 or 3 of us, like 2 people, we've brought extra like soup like a soup cup or something, so we can distribute it.
Pass it. It's like a fire brigade. Pass it down.
We just fill it up and yep. Everybody hurry up. And then, so I would want to use the special souvenir thing, I think.
Cat's in the theater like Alec Baldwin, ABE, always be eating. She's just like, you got to keep popcorn is for closers. Let's go. We're going to refill.
Cat, is there a situation where you get to the theater and you're like, I don't really feel hungry for popcorn, or I just can't eat my 50% or my 25% of the bucket, assuming you're splitting it with just your husband.
This is what happens, because I'm never like, I have to have popcorn. Scott has to have popcorn.
Oh, me too.
And then,
that too.
Oh, okay. And he'll get it, and he'll ask me like, do you want some before we walk in? I'm like, nah, I'm fine. And then as soon as we sit down, I start eating it.
Right. Yeah.
Our marriage is on the line.
Cat goes from I don't want popcorn to orchestrating the popcorn coup where I can get it all eaten quickly and get a free refill. Popcorn Coup, great name for a band, by the way.
That is a great name for a band.
I always look askance. Is that a word? Like, to someone who doesn't eat popcorn at the movies.
Like every time?
Every time, John. Every time. It is part of the experience.
What if I'm doing nachos instead? Is that acceptable?
Okay, that's fine. You know what? All right, John, let me rephrase what I said. Not eating anything.
Okay.
Will, do you walk around looking for people who aren't eating?
Hey, asshole!
Harass them?
This guy does not have popcorn, and this other dude keeps checking out women wearing glasses. Get them both
And he dumps
out.
a little popcorn on their head.
Yes.
There. Now you got some. Happy? Put these glasses on and hold this bucket of popcorn. Do you mind if I take a picture of you? Wear it like a hat. Yes. A buttery hat. It still has the wrapper on it. Just for you. Put on this monocle. Would you mind looking through this jeweler's loop? Oh.
Good thing I had this ghost trap handy.
Don't look in the trap. Literally, do not look in the trap.
Literally.
Honey, do not look in the trap. I'm not quoting the movie.
We haven't moved past last week's episode, I see.
No, it's just all one episode.
Speaking of doing dishes.
What are we talking about now?
How's that out?
Sky's book? No. This is about Ghostbusters. So, John, I need help understanding this.
Okay.
Talk about getting slimed.
Oh,
Cat.
that's too far. Kat.
Inappropriate.
Too far.
Too far. Wow.
Definitely got to cut that out. Oof.
Oh. I feel violated.
Now sit back while I ask John about blow molded cups. So Ghostbusters News credits user Worth Campaign 5860, who apparently once tipped them off in this way, in this sort of vein before, because this user turned them on to the online store of a theater vendor named PCO. It's a vendor that supplies the types of things we're talking to theaters, so popcorn containers, cups, straws, etc., and so on. And items on their website show already, it seems that the items that they're working on for the upcoming Ghostbusters sequel, which included popcorn bags, reusable cups, straws, and trays, and this is what I'm not sure. I think I could understand maybe blow molded and tin buckets. So among the items that seemed interesting to me and noteworthy were the blow molded cups, which they describe as mini puffed figural cups, 45 ounces, and blow molded bucket ghost trap popcorn container. So is that just the form, like the type how it's formed, I guess?
Yes.
Maybe?
Yeah. I only know because I just read a script for Celebrating Yesteryear about blow molded Halloween toys.
No way.
Yeah. So I learned it's the way it's manufactured, just like vacuum form is a way how you heat up plastic and do that. Yeah. So blow molded, it's not so much injecting like liquid. I think it's like a sheet of warmed plastic or whatever it is. And then there's air pressure blown into it. And then it opens up.
So yeah, much like the theater promotions, so much like they did with Afterlife. I think I said Afterlife earlier. I meant for the upcoming sequel, which was called Firehouse now. But
right.
But for Afterlife, they did something like this. And as we were mentioning, they seem to be distributed, as I learned, differently across different theater chains. And Ghostbusters News gives an example. They say in 2021, AMC had the Ecto 1 popcorn container, whereas Cinemark got the mini puffed tub. So John, do some folks travel, you think, from theater to theater getting these different items? I guess collectors, maybe?
Do I think? Yeah. I know.
Okay.
I know people that go, well, I have to stop by Regency because they have the thing. Yeah.
No. Wow.
Now, it's not me.
Yeah.
Now, although I might take a special trip for the Ghost Trap, but typically I just get whatever's at my local theater.
So you're going to hunt it down, figure out where it is.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like the Ghost Trap will hold much. Well, this one says Ghost Trap, 70 ounces. I guess I don't, I'm American, so I don't know what that means. You got to show me a jug of milk or a bottle of Pepsi for me to have any sense of this.
Right. You need a comparator in order to understand what's about the size.
Initially, we'll remind you that initially the movie was slated to come out this December, but John predicted it would be pushed back. And of course, it's now not coming out until March 29th. Maybe the strikes were cited, I should say, as a reason for the delay. But the good news is director Gil Kennan recently shared that he had finished the first cut of the film.
Wow.
Hey, in other 1980s non-Ndewanawanga news, and as reported by Joe Blow, Can't even.
Is there ever any non?
It's the system does it. It's an AI.
It's not mandatory. Just
Sylvester Stallone says
auto-sensing.
he's done with Rambo, and in addition to that 1980s film, he also said that he wished he directed Cobra himself. While chatting with audiences at the Toronto International Film Festival, Stallone said, with regard to Rambo, Stallone said, "They want to do another one, but what am I fighting? Arthritis?"
Oh, poor Sly.
Okay.
I can relate.
Yeah. I'm fighting a reason to get up in the morning. Although Stallone may be done playing Rambo, there have been rumors of a prequel which would take the character back to Vietnam. And after that sentence, I was like, what is that movie going to be? Vacationing? Enjoying food?
Just a tour of all the greatest POW camps he was in? Yeah, just really delightful.
But last November, Stallone told a Hollywood reporter that he wanted to produce it like a, quote, Ken Burns documentary on Vietnam, end quote, and would feature a young Rambo. Quote, he's this outgoing guy, football captain, and then you see why he becomes Rambo, end quote. And I say, yes, I want to see that movie. Although, now that I think about how we really feel about Vietnam, and for decades now, should we have really been there? I mean, who was the real aggressor in that sense? Would we want to see a young Rambo killing Viet Cong? I mean, we did that in the 80s, but that was close to time, and some folks...
Yeah, it's fair.
I don't know.
I'd rather see the food comparison. Pho.
Yeah.
Have you ever had pho?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
awesome.
Oh, yeah.
A whole pho comparison would
I
be
had
great.
faux once, which was just a sandwich.
It's just fake, yeah.
It was
It's for the faux intolerant.
bologna and cheese. Instead, however, Stallone explained that the studios want to make a modern day story where Stallone passes the torch, which that doesn't even make any sense.
What? He doesn't have a torch. He's a reluctant hero that doesn't want to be doing what he's doing in the first damn place. What torch would he pass?
Yeah.
The torch of indignance? Here's how you can refuse to go on missions and then begrudgingly go and become the hero, unlike me because I'm old. That's ridiculous. The origin story could be good.
Yeah.
And you could almost you could pull a MASH and kind of be about the Vietnam War, but not be about the Vietnam War. You know, how they were. Yeah. It's like, it's the Korean War. We swear. That's what it's about, kind of thing. You really just need the character doing badass things with ambiguous enemies who aren't necessarily who they're supposed to be.
Right. Right. Yes, you're right. And we could, to what extent is necessary, retcon what actually happened and have us fighting some, mercenaries or something. Yeah. I agree. Stallone also spoke to the audience at the festival about Cobra, the 1986 action movie in which he starred as police detective Marion Cobretti, which we talked about not too long ago, was actually his original script for Beverly Hills Cop when he was set to play the lead.
Oh, yeah, right.
And then the producers were like, what? No. It's supposed to be light, a little light, more lighthearted than this. Yeah.
Not funny.
So Sylvester Stallone at that point took his script and went home and made Cobra by himself, but he didn't direct it. So in spite of its cult status, Stallone feels that it wasn't one of his best. Saying, quote, Cobra to me was half-baked. I could have done better, but I wasn't concentrating enough. I felt as though that's something I should have directed, and I didn't, and I regret that.
Half-baked Cobra. That sounds delicious.
Oh, yum. Yeah.
I regret that he made it at all. I mean, if he's going to time travel... Stop where my mom will shoot. He didn't mention that. Hey, in other 1980s news, let's see. Here we go. As reported by Comic Book News, director Scott Derrickson gives disappointing. Maybe I don't think it's disappointing. Update on a Labyrinth sequel. So we've been hearing about this potential sequel to the 1986 now cult classic since 2017. But as of 2020, Derrickson was attached to the film. And this was after he directed the first Doctor Strange film. But since then, we haven't heard much. And while technically it's still in development, Derrickson isn't certain it will ever be made. And I say good. But speaking with comicbook.com in support of a new film, VHS 85, in which he is, I think, is one of a few directors that provided stories for this mixtape, as they're describing it, of a horror film. Derrickson said he has exciting plans should he bring us back to the fantasy world of Labyrinth. But he said that while he's proud of the work he did on the potential follow-up, he also said it's so imaginative and so real that there's no way it can be done cheaply. It is a tough movie for a studio to feel confident that it has enough commercial value to earn a profit. And I will add, and who's going to see this?
Exactly. Hasn't the ship sailed on the potential of doing a sequel on this movie now? I mean, it's not even a borderline cult classic, maybe. I know plenty of people that have never seen it. Like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Well, the one with David Bowie. What? He did what kind of movie?
He was in a movie.
To the point that, and plus in the article they even talk about like they're looking to recast David Bowie, which I understand you got to do that because the gentleman has passed, but who's going to fill those shoes?
Who's going to fill those pants?
Yeah. His entire wardrobe, perhaps. Yeah, but such a presence. It's a uphill battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Henson is gone as well. You know, it was his film and probably his most popular movie or well-known movie that doesn't have a Muppet in it. But you know what strikes me even more is that I think a possible takeaway from the film Labyrinth, right, is it was a dream. I mean, there's so many things that point to that. In fact, the very simple observation that many of the characters in the film are dolls or pictures or toys in her bedroom.
Right.
So it seems very much, very likely it was like a Wizard of Oz type thing. So what is the sequel? They'd have to wipe that out. No, it wasn't a dream. This really does exist.
She can have another dream. Now she's grown. She has a child and she falls asleep again. And it's about another, Yeah, it was really just her subconscious teaching her to be nice to her kid brother. That's what it was.
I don't think there's a really compelling follow-up. I think it could just stand alone.
And it does.
If you feel like let's say you know a movie is a dream, or there's some other kind of conceit that says what you're watching isn't real.
Yeah.
Does that remove the stakes for you, or do you feel like you're still able to feel like you're invested in the story?
It's not my favorite thing, but I still whatever I was going wow at or feeling, that still sticks with me.
I especially hate when things turn out to be a dream. Now, I think Labyrinth is a little different. It kind of, if you read between the lines, you're like, oh, I see that was a dream. You could start putting it together before you even find out that it's supposed to be a dream, right? So, but it's things like like when it's a dream all of a sudden as this just way to write the people out of a corner, or when a dream kind of invalidates the entire, like the end of Newhart or when he woke up and it was actually a whole different series and the entirety of like 7 seasons was just a dream he had. Yeah. Like, well, I'm not going to watch that now because it doesn't even happen. It didn't happen. So I guess in answer to your question, took me a while to get there. It does matter, especially if I'm tricked at the end. If it was set up that way and I know it was and I can tell, I feel better about it. But
you remind me, Seen Elsewhere had a similar terrible ending like that where it was all in the child's mind. Okay.
Was it a Snow Globe or was that some other series?
Yeah, Snow Globe, That's the big reveal. There's a Seen Elsewhere inside the Snow Globe or something.
I didn't watch the series, but I remember something about a Snow Globe.
Yeah. I don't think it really bothers me because I can still feel what I was feeling.
Yeah, what she was feeling was full of popcorn.
Eat faster! Hey, we're on the 4th preview.
All the popcorn you just ate was eaten in a dream. You've got to start over now. Refill.
And finally, in 1980s news, as reported on the Tonight Show, Jennifer Beals reveals the source of her iconic look in Flashdance. Flashdance was one of the biggest box office hits in 1983. It earned over $200 million at the box office and an Academy Award for its titular song. In a recent appearance on The Tonight Show, host Jimmy Fallon asked Beals about the origin of her iconic open neck sweatshirt look, right? I say that, you know what we're talking about because... Then you see it everywhere after that.
That's right. Because she's got the jazzercise outfit on underneath it, and then she's got the big, sloppy, awkwardly cut... Oh, man, it's like glasses in a library all over again.
I don't know if it was glasses or you were like as if you were wearing one, John. You were adjusting your shoulders like you're trying to.
I was imagining squeezing in with Jennifer. Yes. Well, it's oversized. We could both fit.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, it's loose on her. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Beals explained to Fallon that, quote, it was based on a fashion accident. I had my favorite sweatshirt in high school and I put it in the dryer for too long at a really high heat. So the neck part shrunk and I couldn't get my head through it. So I just cut out the hole, end quote.
There you go.
And then when Beals wore that sweatshirt to a wardrobe fitting for the film, director Adrian Lin and costume designer Michael Kaplan loved the look so much, they made a version of it, a costume version of it, for her to wear in the film.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
I had never known that. I had never even put together that, the fact that we associate that look, and John's saying that it became this combination of, jazzercise in that look. And in fact, in that show Physical, I'm pretty sure Rose Byrne's character, they're wearing that while they're, that kind of thing.
I think so.
That it originated in that film. I didn't even put that together. It just seems so ubiquitous of the 1980s,
Yeah, I don't think I could have pointed at that as, there's the origin. Yeah.
But then that she did it by accident based on a fashion faux pas or something. You know how much stuff I shrink in my dryer and nothing comes of it? I just have to throw it away.
Well, let that be a lesson to you. The next thing you shrink in your dryer, butcher it with scissors, wear it to your next audition. You got a brand.
There you go.
Trendsetter.
Right. Will's tiny shirts. Get yours today.
I was thinking more like my jeans shrink, so I cut the waistband off of them. So I have like the reverse of Daisy Dukes. The top ass of my ass is hanging out, and the bottom and down is covered.
They call that plumber butt.
But John,
yes,
I'm wearing glasses the whole time.
Oh, I'm gonna need another popcorn bucket.
I probably shouldn't mention that. I mean, I don't think I had the sweatshirt look, but I sure had the dance outfits, the leg warmers and the leotards. Oh yeah.
All you had to do was cut that Mickey Mouse or Minnie Mouse sweatshirt that you had, Kat.
That's right. There you go.
Hey, Paramount Plus had announced a sequel of a sequel TV series of the film in February of last year, but we haven't heard anything about it since. And I would say much like Labyrinth, I think we're fine with that. That's okay. We don't need that.
Yeah.
We're good.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe there's a great idea for a series. It probably doesn't have to be stitched onto Flashdance, though.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
Do your own thing.
Yeah. And it's as a sequel series, like, so does that mean Jennifer Beals comes back, but she's 40 years older? And that movie was so much about her struggle to, make it in the dance world. All right. So now she made it. So I don't know. I guess I don't feel that invested in her character after that as I did in that particular journey.
Yeah, it's the story. It was about the story.
Unless she's now a librarian, in which case I'm back on board.
Oh, and it was all a dream.
And it was all a dream. Oh, perfect.
Hey, that was 1980s news.
Hey, our independent podcast is brought to you every week by folks just like you. So if you'd like to help us out, please follow us on the podcast platform you're listening to right now. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share an episode on Facebook. All of these actions just take a moment and are 100% free. But if you'd like to chuck in a buck and help us keep publishing the show week after week, please visit us at 1980snow.com/support to find out how you can send us $1 or $2. And thank you so much. It means a lot.
I'm late on this, but it just occurred to me if she's eating popcorn at the same time, maybe then you'd be on board. So what? Glasses,
eating popcorn, sweatshirt. She's got to have the whole thing on too. The look.
The look. The look.
Tight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Leg warmers. Would that be important?
I don't know. It's important, but it doesn't hurt. Yeah.
How about the color?
Pink and purple.
Pink?
Yeah.
Purple. Yeah. Yep.
We're just weird sciencing together somebody that we want to see.
I think we just created Kelly LeBrock at the end of weird science specifically.
It could be. Yeah.
Coaching the gym.
There you go. Every decision is how close does it get us to weird science?
Yeah.
What was funny is just watching the two of you like this. Yeah.
I was honestly trying to do an assessment to see if that sound was going to kick in or not, but I never heard it. So somehow we didn't reach the level of it.
Oh no,
that's what I was listening for.
Something's wrong.
Yeah.
What sound are you waiting for? What did I miss?
They wanna wonder.
Oh, because it's spontaneous and you have no control over that.
I don't.
That's right.
Of course.
It's spontaneous. Like when you first hit puberty and never mind.
Oh,
I don't know why we're determined to just look.
Who reared his ugly head?
I told you guys this. I'm not entirely convinced that we didn't lose a guest because of last week's episode. I mean, I don't.
Right.
I don't know. So why are we doing this still? Because it's us.
I can only be what I am. Sorry.
There you go. All right. Hey, speaking of not having a guest, we're going to do fine without that, right? We're going to do fine here.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about it. So, look, I had hoped to talk about, and again, I've got some other folks theoretically lined up to touch base on some different aspects of.
Theoretically.
Until they hear this episode.
You notice I'm not announcing any names until it's recorded. But about different aspects of my book, which is set in the 1980s. And I realized I feel like that we've talked about it a lot, but it's only because I've been working on it a lot. We only talked about it once.
A lot, Will.
Yeah. So
one time. Yeah.
So again, I guess high level. First of all, it's called Outcasts, which is, and it's spelled in the way
I love that name.
referring to the caste system that at least, I think I've learned that it's a more of a Western concept that was sort of imposed on Indian culture, and not while they do have these notions, these ideas of different, economic, either by economic status or family lineage or religion. There's these sort of, different groups, and some of them are looked as lower than others. I don't believe I don't believe internally they had referred to it as a caste system. I think I recall it was some kind. It's like from a Portuguese word that was somehow anyway. But anyway,
sure.
It's called It's called outcast as a play on that. But in short, and most important to our discussion today is the fact that the protagonist, an Indian teen who immigrates to the United States, immigrates at the beginning of the 1980s, just when hip hop is developing. Obviously it began earlier than that in the 70s, but things started to coalesce in the early 1980s between the music and the dance and the graffiti, the 4 pillars of hip hop, the 5 pillars if you throw in knowledge of history, which I think African Mbana insisted is the 5th pillar. But that time is fascinating to me, and I had a choice of when to set this novel and for these kids. And I could have said it later in the 1980s when it was mainstream and it was commercial, and literally because you saw it on commercials, when it was music videos and films, lots of films. Or middle of the 1980s, where you've had folks see Breakin' and Beat Street, which came out in 1984, and you've got Rocket, Herbie Hancock, all these things that, it's a little bit earlier, so we're seeing it start to infiltrate mainstream media. Or ultimately the choice I made was earlier than that. So I think it's set in 82 or 83. Oh, I'd have to look. I don't remember. But and I decided to do that because I wanted it to still be small and sort of quaint and unique and mysterious, and that the characters they were curious about it, so they had to work at finding out about it.
But maybe even for a couple of reasons too, because there's not like the internet to look it up, like tell me more about Breakin'. So there's that because of the era that it's in, but also because it was just burgeoning. Yeah. You weren't even sure that everybody you ran into on the street had even heard of it yet. So you had, it wasn't like you could have called the librarian, back to library. Sorry. You call the librarian and go, tell me what is Breakin', and then be like, stop your car with the pedal on the floor. Not everybody even knew what the heck it was. Right. And origin stories are always the best kind of stories. So it makes sense.
Yeah. And it's fascinating to me. And I had the fortune. I love the area I grew up in because, by proximity to New York City, I feel like I had access to things that maybe took a little longer to reach other areas of the country. Where I grew up, literally right next door to New York City, we had their radio, their television, whatever hit that's what our broadcasting was, wasn't some local New Jersey station necessarily. Those existed, but a lot of the big stuff obviously came out of New York. But among that, the fact that hip hop was born out of New York, it's either going to be the Bronx. It's the Bronx. To one aspect with regard to the dance and DJing, but obviously a lot of rap artists came out of spread like Queens and elsewhere. Digital age, and ultimately television's enough, radio's enough, obviously, to start spreading the word. But there's this window where it's starting to hit critical mass and somehow spread to these. First, it makes sense, the geographical regions right around there.
Yeah.
But I was, and looking back and writing my book, I'm like, how did this happen though? Like,
you lived it, and how did it happen?
And in part of being in my 50s now, although I started writing this book, we said over a decade ago, is not being sure about some of these memories, but it seems that my recollection is it was almost like oral tradition, where somebody would witness somebody do something on the street and then go back and tell a friend like this crazy thing and try to replicate it. And then you'd run into some kids who somehow they had also had that experience, except their cousins sat around and taught them what they learned. And it just sort of built from there. I think quite honestly for me, I told you my novel's sort of in the certainly it's set way before the media explosion that ultimately where it's sort of oversaturated with, breaking and at the late 80s and early 90s where, they're trying to sell everything from like Pop-Tarts to sneakers with having somebody rap and do some cool dance.
Well, yeah, right. When it's grassroots, it's cool. And then when all of a sudden it gets just big enough that is recognizable enough that you can then attach it to marketing and branding and movies and TV shows and everything. And it is everywhere, just like it did with everything, right? With any kind of cultural change in music, suddenly everybody's wearing the Flashdance outfit, right? Because it's like, well, I saw it here and it's a big deal and now it's everywhere. And then it's overplayed to the point where only the people that really loved it in the first place, who were grassroots and weren't just glomming onto it because it was in media, are the ones left behind that actually, it's almost like when the tide goes down, who's still standing,
I'm very sure it was at a saturation point when I first became aware of breaking. And I say breakdancing.
Yeah,
because I know.
Fine. Yeah.
Now I know what breaking is, but it must have been on MTV. I did see movies in the 80s, but I don't know. I didn't see breaking. I didn't see the movies that would have had that as a main feature at that time. And there was nobody breaking on the street corner in my town at the Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
I didn't just see it, going around the local area. It had to have been MTV, I think, featured in a video.
I think mine was being influenced by kids at school who, because I also was not seeking out, hip hop. And so I told you early on, I wasn't even listening to hip hop because in fact, my family, we just had one kind of music and that was it. But now, as you're getting exposed to other things, and I saw kids like, what are they doing? I mean, dancing is one thing, but people, this is not a musical I'm living in. People just don't spontaneously break into square dancing in the middle of the hallways. But kids in the hallway were popping and locking, and they were in the, during the lunch break, they would have, some cardboard they'd brought from home in the back of somebody's car, and they were messing around out back. Yeah. Like used to be where the kids were smoking. Well, they're still smoking, but now they're also breaking, actually.
Smoking and breaking.
During lunch break. Yeah.
And Will, where did you break?
I think my strongest memories are mid 80s. I think me and my friends started doing, I want to say 83 or 84. And I have some memories that I can pinpoint that are squarely in 84 or 85 based on what song came out. Because I remember like a song would come out like, oh, we got to use that song, get that song on tape. I just watched the Thriller video with my daughter because her dance school is doing the Thriller dance, cool. Some different places for Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I had a memory I recalled because I immediately said to her, oh, we got to wait till the end because there's this part. And at the end, after this video ends and he's revealed he's still, the sort of surprise ending, no spoilers.
Yeah.
During the credits, they showed
the dream.
4 like zombies, popping and locking.
Yes.
And I remember I've
seen that.
Then me and my friend, well, first of all, me and my friend, we would pause and rewind the Thriller video to learn the video. So we were going to do it at a dance, I don't know that we ever had the courage to do it. John does. I don't know if we ever had the courage to do that, but we were fascinated by the poppers and lockers.
Yeah.
And I remember knowing what that was even then. It's like, oh, those are the guys doing that thing. I don't remember if we knew what it was called, but then trying to imitate that as well. So as early as that, which was 82, I think, we were already familiar with what that was.
We'll just called it doing the zombie.
Yeah, there you go. But I have, Kat, you're talking about down the shore, and you remind me that, and ultimately what my friends and I were doing, we were breaking outside. Like we would practice inside in someone's basement with a piece of linoleum or something like that. But mostly it was outside with some, it sounds cliche, but it was true. Outside with a piece of cardboard, flattened.
Yep.
The biggest piece you could find, a refrigerator box or something like that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Appliance.
We learned linoleum was too slippery. Like if you had a scrap piece of linoleum from someone's kitchen job, that was dangerous.
Well, and I learned that you can get a burn from linoleum because it has a little bit of grip to it too. It's it's slippery, but it also has, if it's not perfectly smooth, it has some grip.
That's true. Yeah, there's a texture to it.
It's non-slip linoleum. Like that's opposite of what we need. Actually, we need very slip linoleum.
There's some stories behind these tales I want to hear sometime. I found out that
I want to see John's knees where he's like, look, 1987. So I remember I think we were cribbing stuff from these different music videos, and then in 84 we had Beat Street came out, which I remember we were cribbing from there because I remember we would like go back a second time to see like one of the battles and just like, all right, what is it? And Breaking came out, which is, that's West Coast. So it's that's popping and locking and electric boogaloo, that style of dancing. But we were, primarily the goal was to dance on the street. And at some point we would walk around our city, like looking for people that also were dancing to either battle or to hang out with or learn other stuff,
So cool.
But I remember, by, again, it had to be like 83 or 84 because I remember, I want to say it was Shaka Khan, I Feel For You. I remember us practicing too. Well, ultimately we were dancing to this Boogie Boys song, which I'd have to look up when it came out. But my cousin lived down the shore and he had said, hey, there's just going to be a breaking contest down here, with big prizes. It was like $100 or something. I don't know. 1983 or whatever. And it's going to be judged by the Dynamic Breakers, which were a big deal at the time. They weren't their Rocksteady crew, but they were a big deal. I think they were part of the Dynamic Rockers originally, and then they started their own thing. Anyway, I still have a postcard from it. I'm pretty sure advertising it somewhere in here.
Oh my God.
But so he was like, hey, and again, me and my friends are from Jersey City. We had our own little crew. It was like, we should go down the shore to this contest. We're going to crush. They don't even know what this is. Like Kat says, right? It's going to be the easiest $100 or whatever it was we've ever made. Probably had never made any money by that point. But we wind up getting, there's this, it's almost like, again, I don't know how these things get around, but there was a kid in our neighborhood who was called White Boy Jay.
Okay.
And White Boy Jay was just, he was regarded as the guru. I don't know how he knew it. I think I did know. I think he spent time in New York. He was in the Bronx or somewhere hanging out with a crew. And then he lived where we lived, though, in Jersey City. So he would bring back all this. And he had disappeared for a time and come back like Luke after being in Dagobah. Where he was
just something extra skills.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like he had trained enough. And he was
good. He went away.
He was a popper. He wasn't he didn't go down on the floor and do, bottom rock, or he wasn't doing stuff floor work, but power moves. But he was a popper and he could crush anybody in our city,
Wow.
So somehow we asked him, we approached him, like one would approach a Jedi master. Will you train us? Will you teach us? Will you help us develop a routine so that we can go down to this contest and take money away from these rubes?
They don't know what's coming, do they?
He agreed to do this. And so, me and my buddies, we would meet in my basement and White Boy Jay would come and we would develop a routine slowly. And I still remember the beginning of it because it's laughable.
Oh.
Because he had this vision where it was going to be kind of theatrical. This is so corny. But he had us, we just thought we were going to dance, but he's like, no, let's start off like this. He split our little crew up into like two sections, two sides, as if we were competing sides from different crews. And we were to act out like we were about to fight. We're going to have a physical altercation.
It's like a play to play.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Because part of the history of, breaking in the Bronx as it developed was that the gangs would get involved in it. And eventually over time, these dance battles replaced some of the otherwise, violent altercations that they would. Well, that's how the lore goes.
That's showmanship right there. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate wanting to add a layer of not intrigue, but what are they doing? What's happening? And then it erupts into a great dance.
Because these rubes don't know. They're going to think we're really going to fight. But, and this is the corny part was, so we would approach like we're going to fight. And then he had one of us say a line, like a third person came in. Not in the story originally, like Deus Ex Machina, would come in and part the two people apart and say, yo, don't fight for it, dance for it.
Oh.
And then the music would come on. Oh my God. Even then we knew it was corny. But
totally convincing too. I'm sure that line was delivered with the Oscar caliber.
Terrible. Yeah.
Dance for it, yo.
But after a few sessions meeting with White Boy Jay in my basement to develop this routine, he stopped showing up.
No.
And so we were left to our own devices. And, we had, I don't know, probably we didn't have as much experience or training or skills as we would ultimately, a little bit later. At this time, it was still pretty new to us. So what we developed on our own was not going to be what he would help us do, but we had something.
It's not like he went away and got all these new skills and brought them back to you.
He never came back.
No, he just went away.
And part of it was he was going to be in it. So, not only was he, actually, I think he was the one who did, he's the one who did the line. Now that I think about it, he's the one who did the line, so he was center stage. And we were excited about that because, again, the guy just crushed. Anyway, but he didn't show up. And so it came time, it was the date of the contest down Jersey Shore somewhere. And it was at some convention hall or something like that.
Asbury Park Convention Hall?
I don't remember. but maybe this will help in a moment because
oh my gosh,
we were like, what are we going to do? We don't have, Jay to be with us anymore. We barely have a routine. We're kind of half winging it. Oh, you know what? Look, we're going to crush these rubes. We'll just go and just do whatever we would normally do. We'll improvise, we'll toss it around. You throw it to one other person. They'd start dancing it back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And so we get there.
Uh-oh.
The place is enormous.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it couldn't, maybe at Asbury Park, I don't know, but it wasn't like, like Giant Stadium big cat, but there were tiers of seats.
Yes.
Is that Asbury Park?
I used to go there all the time for wrestling matches.
Okay.
My dad used to take us there to see all kinds of famous wrestling. I mean, it was part of the big time circuit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the tour, right? Exactly.
Tiers of seats, and we get popcorn and big place.
Chug.
Yeah. So it wasn't like at a VFW or something like we expected.
Right.
We were just kids. So
Was it right on the boardwalk?
Yeah. I don't remember that.
Huh,
but remember, we got there, it was gigantic and it was packed.
Yeah.
And so suddenly like, okay, well, this isn't what we thought it was going to be, but all right, we're still going to do this. We're still going to do this.
Wow.
And then, they they just call. We see very quickly. They tell everybody, we're just gonna call you by your crew name. I don't remember our crew name. I wish I did.
You don't?
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
How can you forget that?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Didn't you have like T-shirts you made with puffy paint?
We did for a different crew, but not for this
okay.
one. I still have that shirt
It's
too.
mandatory.
I don't remember this crew's name, but we were waiting for our name to be called. So we don't know when we're going to be called, but it turns out there's like dozens of people, like 50, 100 crews competing. And the first one goes, and they were better than anything we had seen in any movie, TV show.
Oh, no.
It turns out that folks from like New York and around the world or country
were driving in
to compete. It was the primo best of the best at this place. And so finally, when they call our name, it's like we pretend we don't know who those people are.
Oh, no. You didn't go? You didn't go up?
No chance in hell. No, we sat in the audience.
Who are those schmoes? No shows.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Oof.
Oh my
God. We stood no chance. But we, it was great to see all these acts perform. And then the judges, the Dynamic Breakers, actually, they performed too, I'm pretty sure. They may have brought the Dynamic Dolls with them, which is a female offshoot of their group.
Mm-hmm.
What we did do, the only thing we felt brave enough to do was, before the show started, I think it was, they were playing, hip hop music. We were doing like little routines in the aisles of the seats.
Oh, okay.
Impressing the 4 or 5 people that were close enough to see us humbly doing things, But that was before the show started, I think, because I think we were doing that already. And then
you were the openers.
Yeah, right.
I hope you didn't pay a hefty entry fee.
I don't think we had to pay anything at all, actually.
No
so
fee?
That's a good point. Because if we did, whoever took us there, whatever adult would be like, get your ass in there. It's cost me $25.
Yeah, I'm sure there was some corporate sponsor. Just at that point, it was big enough people were coming from out of state and driving there. Yeah, some, Frito-Lay contest or something. Someone had sponsored it to get the prize money, I expect.
Still, that's so cool. So you were entertained. You still enjoyed it.
Yeah, we probably stole more moves. We bit more moves.
What's it called when you have your whole body do this? Is it the centipede?
It depends where you're from, it turns out. We called it the centipede, yeah.
You called it the centipede?
Oh.
I think I tried one time. It didn't work out very well.
I always heard it called the worm. Is that not the talk about laying on the ground?
Yeah, outside of the East Coast, it seems like people call it the worm.
I always found it to be decidedly uncomfortable.
Smacking your chest and stomach on the...
Chest and stomach are fine. I wasn't so much worried about that getting squished. Squishing the grapes a bit, if you will.
They won a wonga.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, there it goes. There it was. Okay. Oh, somehow it knows what you're talking about. Yeah, it wasn't until later, I would say a year or so later, that I felt more adept at dancing. But I don't know that we battled all that much walking around. We did make friends, and we wound up getting a larger crew together because we met some other kids that had smaller crews. It was like, there's 2 people, we're 3 people. All right, now it's 5 of us, now there's 6. But I don't remember we would run into very often in anybody that we could battle against. Maybe once or twice, and we were probably all of around the same skill. There wasn't anybody blowing us away like, that the folks that we witnessed that strangely in the middle of, South Jersey, which I never would have expected.
South?
Yeah.
South Jersey. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. South, yeah. Anything south of Newark, I would say, is South Jersey, right? We've talked about
New
this.
Jersey 101.5 radio station. Within the past couple of months, they are the radio station for Central New Jersey.
You know why they're saying that? They want to distance themselves from South Jersey. Nobody wants to be known as South Jersey. Now I just remembered a moment where, I felt better at breaking was really because I was in high school at this point, freshman year. And because I had tried a number of other sports, I ultimately did gymnastics because it turns out I don't like to run long distances.
I don't like running either. No.
What else did I try? Swimming. I thought for sure I was going to get swimming. I didn't get swimming.
You did gymnastics?
Yes, I did gymnastics for like a year or whatever it was.
Oh, cool.
And that only allowed me to strengthen, the moves that I had learned breaking and also incorporate gymnastics moves, And I remember one time, and this is sort of the flip side of that story that I just told you because it was a school dance. I remember the song that was playing. It was Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew, the show.
Uh-huh.
The one that where the keyboard plays the Inspector Gadget theme and they have two DJs scratching. Barry B and Chilwell. It was a school dance at my elementary school, but I had graduated already. But they would have summer dances that were thrown by some youth organization for teenagers.
Okay.
And I remember being there with some friends that also, we would break dance, we had, but I guess I wasn't in high school yet by the time the song came out, I don't think, because I think it came out in August of 85, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I had just started high school. Anyway.
No, you didn't start high school until
September of 85, probably, right?
Yeah. 86.
No.
Oh, you're right. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you graduated like May of 85.
We finished freshman year 86, 87, 89. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But it was a school dance. And I remember at the school dance seeing, a number of folks that I had seen, that I had known in the neighborhood, either by reputation or friends or frenemies kind of thing. And including these guys that were just assholes. And I wouldn't say they bullied me necessarily, but they were bullies, And one of them among them was a guy who fancied himself to be a good dancer. And he was kind of strong, so he could do some floor stuff pretty well. But I had something going for me. One was, again, it must have been the fall of 85. I had some gymnastics moves I had learned. I had some experience a year or so about breaking. And the lights at the gymnasium or auditorium in the elementary school were dark. And there was a disco ball and strobe lights.
Oh.
So it's kind of hard to really clearly see what was going on. And I remember Dougie Fresh, the show, was playing, and some kids started dancing, like a circle forms. Because look, this is still an era, and we're still a country. This is probably true today, right? Guys don't dance. They're wallflowers. Girls dance.
Pretty often, yeah.
So guys will slow dance. Their wife will drag them out to the dance floor. But no, we were dancing at the SFGE because we're different. We're fun. But the circle forms and some guys start breaking and, I want to do it too. So I do something and I do a little routine and I wind up doing this, I'm doing these sort of floor moves and I do it into some stuff I learned into gymnastics, which amounted to, I don't know. I don't know how I got on my feet from this one thing, but it was like being on the floor doing what's like bottom rocking. And then somehow I flipped over onto my feet into a one-handed round off. This sounds so funny.
Oh my god!
Into a backhand extension, which if folks know, you kind of hit your feet from the round off, so you're facing perpendicular to the cartwheel. You roll back onto your behind, and then you keep rolling back until you're now up on. You're doing a handstand, and if you've got enough momentum,
like an arched handstand almost, right? You kind of arched.
It didn't even arch, straight up.
Oh no, straight up. Okay.
But,
oh my gosh!
And then from that, if you've got enough momentum, you just go straight up into the air and boom, land on your feet.
Wow.
You did this?
Yeah, Kat, I am so sad that I can't do it now. I tried to do it this summer for my daughter. I was like, because learning these kinds of things, I'm like, well, Daddy can do it. I thought my wrists were going to break. I mean,
the more you describe this now, and the way you're comparing it and merging it with gymnastics, it makes me think a lot of break and floor work is not that far removed from pommel horse work. Where you have points on the horse that you have to do moves that swing your body around with. Yeah. It's a similar, I'm sure it's similar balance and skills. So I can see how it was almost like a secret weapon that you studied some some ballet, some dance other than that you can then like, use those skills to enhance what you're doing with breaking, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And even breaking itself, how it evolved, it was incorporating these different dance forms and gymnastic moves, etc. Yeah, to create these styles. So yeah, you're right, John. A lot of it revolves the same muscle groups and yeah. But I didn't know doing this thing for me was simple enough. Because I was all of 14 years old or something like that, and all of 88 pounds or something like that. And so it was easy enough for me to do. And I thought, this is pretty cool. I like doing this. It's fun, and I'm good at it because I've been doing it for a while. But what I didn't realize because of the lighting, people thought I went from the floor and did a backflip onto my feet because
of the strobe effect.
It was going so fast. Yeah. They were convinced I somehow rolled off the floor, did a backflip, and landed on my feet. Because people were stunned.
Wow.
You looked even cooler than you really looked.
Yeah. And I didn't, for a while, I was just like, hey, people are like, yeah, that was fucking awesome. What the? And I thought, yeah, that's cool. But, it's not like I defied gravity or not. But they thought I did.
But they thought you did.
Suddenly, these guys who I referred to as assholes were, quasi-bullies.
Oh.
They saw me differently. Yeah. And this one kid who I think but for that was ready to jump in and start dancing next. He did not dance.
He didn't.
It was more like when I came out, he was like, man, that was really good.
He was like your crew at the competition.
I was thinking that. Yeah.
Oh,
He's like, nope. Nope. My name was not on the list. Correction. No, I don't want to follow Will.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's probably the highlight of my brief career, as a street dancer, which is a stretch to even say that.
Yeah. Well, I love that story.
I'm sure you lived on that fame for a while, didn't you?
Well, in my heart, John, in my heart, 100%.
That's enough. And as long as it was for you.
You remind me that I ran into that kid like days later or a week later, and he was like, "Oh, you guys, you see what Will did? I got to tell you about this thing. He does a backflip."
He's suddenly your advocate, telling your legend. Isn't that great?
I don't think I argued with him.
Like, oh yeah, that's what I did.
All right, hey, look again. This is what we're going to do from time to time. I would love to hear other folks' stories. Where do you live in the world? How did you hear about breaking? Did you do it? Did people do it on the street? We would love to know. Please write us at Will at 1980s. Now, find us on Facebook, other places and socials, and send us a message. We'd love to share your stories and just learn about them.
Now, before you go, Will, I promised you I was going to do this. So I've got the spreadsheet here. Oh, good. So last time we spoke, you were at 85% progress on your novel. Now, I did some quick mathematics, and effectively, as we speak, there are about 12 weeks left in the year.
Oh
boy.
That's a couple weeks ago. So we were roughly, you need 1% a week to stay on track, or you're going to be behind your deliverables.
Wow.
Ooh. So we were 85% when we last spoke. To be on pace to finish at the end of the year, you need to be at about 87. Where do you think you are in terms of progress of completion of your novel?
John, I believe I am exactly at 87. And I hadn't even done the math you're talking about, but just roughly based on what I'm trying to accomplish. Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know that I'll be good. I don't know that this will always be the case because some of the stuff I'm going to have to do, I think is going to require more of an effort.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. I'm glad you said it that way because I hadn't realized that I'm still, at least 2 weeks later, still.
Yeah. I mean, it's rough math, but it's roughly a percent per week you need to accomplish in order to achieve your goal of finishing at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep you honest. Every time we do one of these, I'm going to update it and see where we're at. Okay.
Very good. I appreciate that. Yeah. Awesome. Someone has to.
Somebody's got to keep your ass in line.
Yes. All right.
Slacker.
Hey, speaking of that, I better go do some more editing. That was our show.
And our show is brought to you thanks in part to our early adopters like Rick Parker and Karen Flieger.
Yay, Karen.
And thank you especially to our Secret of Our Success Level Patreon supporters like Tony Great, Nick Guillory,
go Nick,
Craig Coletta,
get it, Greg,
Matt Marino, John Henderson, Brandon Greer, and Marcus Taylor.
Yay. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, guys. That's awesome.
Appreciate it. And I thoroughly appreciate that so far these folks have decided to stay with us, even as I, leverage our show here too.
Why wouldn't they?
Yes, John, right.
And next time, I'd like to say one more name.
Okay.
I don't know whose it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Could be
challenge.
you. I want to say one more additional name.
I'm really hoping there's a person who wants to join us that has a really hard name for Kat to say. Just something really bonkers. You know what? Hey, we got to modify it. Okay. Kat will say whatever
And
you want. Her
Miguel Papadopoulos. Dun, dun, dun. Right. It's just something difficult to
as
say.
long as it's not
Miguel.
a swear word, it's an obscenity. Kat will say we have the right to refuse, and she has the right to refuse to say it. Kat will say maybe it's not your name. You want her to say something else. Whatever it is. She'll say it.
And new this week, Mr. Fortuna.
I was going to say, I hope somebody signs up as Jizz Fortuna.
Oh, gee, I didn't say Bib Fortuna. No, she went for Jizz Fortuna.
I really hope somebody signs up.
You know, Fortuna, I was thinking about this. Like, that's not an uncommon last name. That's a real last name. It's not like Skywalker.
Yeah.
So there's a Fortuna out there. I probably went to high school with one. So now we just gotta, Oh, whatever.
Yep.
Okay. Hey.
I'll say Mr. Fortuna.
Mr. Yeah.
Yes.
That's it. You'll just say the last name?
Out of respect.
Yeah. No matter what your first name
Jizz
is.
Fortuna deserves your respect. All right.
Or something.
Hey guys, we will talk to you next time on 1980s Now.
Until next time.
Hit it.